In September 2025, Nepal became the epicenter of a historic youth-led uprising that shook the nation's political foundations. The spark came on September 4th, when the government abruptly banned 26 major social media platforms, including TikTok, Facebook, and X, formerly Twitter, citing national security concerns. But for millions of young Nepalis, this was the final straw. The move was widely seen as a blatant attempt to silence dissent and control public expression, especially after years of growing frustration over corruption, unemployment, and weak governance. Within hours, digital outrage spread like wildfire. Generation Z, Nepal's most connected and outspoken generation, turned their anger into action, organizing through VPNs, Discord servers, and encrypted apps. The protests started peacefully, with marches and candlelight vigils across Kathmandu and major cities. But as police began cracking down, tensions exploded. On September 9th, the situation reached a boiling point. Thousands of protesters stormed the federal parliament in Kathmandu, setting parts of the building on fire while chanting for justice and reform. Security forces responded with tear gas and live ammunition, resulting in a violent clash that killed at least 72 people, including 19 students and a 12-year-old child. Eyewitnesses described scenes of chaos: smoke billowing from government buildings, injured demonstrators carried through the streets, and young activists live-streaming the events in real time to global audiences. The government's response only fueled the anger. Facing national outrage and growing international pressure, Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli resigned later that same day, and an interim government led by Sushila Karki was swiftly appointed. The House of Representatives was dissolved, and new elections were scheduled for March 5, 2026. Yet even after the leadership change, protests continued sporadically, as many young activists felt that true reform had not yet begun. The protests were notable for their leaderless, decentralized nature. There was no single organization or figure guiding them. Instead, coordination came from thousands of anonymous users online, proving how digital tools can empower political mobilization even amid censorship. The movement became both a national and global phenomenon, as Nepal's youth joined a wider wave of Gen Z uprisings worldwide, from Madagascar to Peru, driven by disillusionment with entrenched corruption, inequality, and unresponsive governments. As the dust settled, Nepal found itself at a political crossroads. While the protests achieved immediate change at the top, they also rekindled deep ideological debates, particularly about the potential restoration of Nepal's former Hindu monarchy, which some citizens now view as a stabilizing alternative to dysfunctional democratic governance. Others, however, warn that such nostalgia risks reversing the hard-won freedoms of the republic. The 2025 Nepalese Gen Z protests are now remembered not just as a political upheaval, but as a cultural and generational awakening. They mark the moment when an entire generation, armed with smartphones and a burning desire for justice, confronted the failures of the old system.
In the words of one young protester, "We didn't grow up to inherit silence. We grew up to break it."